Alright, so today we have a Samsung dryer, and if I turn this on, you're going to hear something. That sound is a bad bearing. And on the inside, I have clothes in here, I'm going to take these out. You'll notice that this strap is coming loose. This is the felt belt that goes around the entire dryer. It's coming loose. So today we're going to fix those two things: the bearing and this felt belt that goes around. We have the parts right here ready to go. These are my bearings. Oh, never mind, that's the felt belt with the glue. These are the bearings. So today we are going to change both of these, and I'm going to take apart the dryer. I'm not going to show how that's done because that can be found on YouTube, many different places. I'm going to change the bearing and the felt belt. And also a pro tip: whenever you're taking out these screws, an easy way for your screws to not get mixed up, because I have some other stuff that I took apart right here that's easy to remember, is to keep them in the places. So I'll unscrew that, for example, and then I'll screw it right back in slightly, not all the way down, just so it stays in place, and then I can take care of that again. I don't have to worry about the screws getting mixed up with the different size of screws right here. So I have the top off like so. And I've taken apart this dryer many times before, but that's just a pro tip. So basically I removed everything, all the electrical cords. Here's the components. The motherboard is covered in a nice little resin or epoxy, I can't remember what it was. Anyways, the doors covers off, and here's the drum. I'm going to be removing these screws right here to take this completely off, and then I'll go from there with the drum. We're going to put the glue and the felt and go from there. So just a little okay, you can tell that this is the felt thing. It comes on this right here. That one, it'll peel off. We're going to take the drum off completely off of here and glue the new one on, but you can tell from all that rattling over the last year that this came apart. And over here you have the bearing that sits right here. This one looks like it's still good, that middle inside, and sitting right here, this just came out right here. Look at that, just completely destroyed, and it's now flattened on one side, and that's supposed to be sitting on there. So we're going to be putting the new, and over here we see that this is a nut that comes right off, and we're going to be replacing that whole bearing assembly. And this is a good time, by the way, to get a vacuum and clean all that stuff out. But I'm going to be replacing this entire bearing assembly. So this one is the old one. This one is still good. We don't need to replace that. So we'll keep our parts. But this is the new bearing assembly, and I'm going to keep those parts. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take this whole drum off and check the back ones to make sure those are good as well. But to get this bearing assembly off, you need some channel locks. Okay, put that on there, and then I'm going to crank down on that side and take that bolt off. And then the same way I took that, put that one on, take the one off, I'm going to put the new one on there as well. So channel locks. Here's also another pro tip. You see this? You hear that? This is the new bearing. I took this triangle washer off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and what I have is some Lucas grease, extra heavy duty grease, just a little dab on the finger. I already got this one, and you can hear there's no noise whatsoever. And I'm just going to put a little bit on there, just on the top side, just a little bit is necessary. And then you're going to put the bearing, and you're going to spin it a couple times. And you can add a little bit more. Just going to add some more to that on that bearing. and now you can't really hear it as much. That extra lubrication that it does not say on the package, if you add a little bit of grease on your bearings, you hear that? It's silent now. There's not going to be as much friction on that whenever this thing spins. So as this drum is spinning, it's going to be spinning on here, and that grease will help not only not add any noise from the friction, but it will prevent this from being worn out as much. So just a little bit of grease goes a long way. Look, no more sound. So I do that on all the bearings, and in maintenance this is standard. You lubricate all your bearings and it'll last a lot longer. So the same thing to this one. I already did this one. This one's good to go. And now there's no noise at all. So I need to take this drum off, but this belt right here is affecting it. So back there's going to be a little lever. I'm going to reach my hand in here and take it off completely. I'll show you what that looks like later. And then the whole thing will come off. I have a replacement belt, so while I'm at it, I'll remove the belt, and I can do a visual inspection on this belt to see if I need to change it. I don't see any cracks. This belt does not have any cracks at all, and that's what you want to see. You want to look for cracks or any visual signs of wear. I don't see anything, so we can still reuse this belt right here if we want to, since there's no cracks on here. But since I have a new belt, I'm half tempted to just change this completely, and I think I will. Anyways, so I'm going to take this off, and then the drum will come loose. And like we did before, there's two bearings down there that the drum sits on. I'm going to be taking that off and that off, re-lubricating those bearings, and go from there. And now that this drum is off, it's kind of tight fit back here. I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. These are re-lubricated, which is great. I'll take this drum off, and I'm going to sit it right over here. Which I'll be putting the new felt on. Now I have access to that, and that's what I was showing you. This right here, this is your tensioner, and this is what the belt sits on. And you just remove that belt, and now I'm free to get a vacuum and clean up all this underneath here. But this is the old one. I'm visually inspecting this old one. As you can tell, you can hear it spinning on there. I'm going to re-lubricate that. Visually inspect this one. It has some scuffing right there, so I am going to replace this one. I'm going to replace that, and it's hardly moving. But over here, I'm not seeing any visual damage whatsoever, so it's really leaning heavy on this side. But I'm going to replace that one with my other bearings, and I'm just going to re-lubricate both bearings. So okay, now that we have the drum off, I'm going to just peel all of this off completely. It's just going to come right off. Pretty easy, just like so. You can tell they put the glue on the inside of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to clean the rest of this off on the top side and do a really quick cleaning. Looks like they glued right there. So I'm going to make sure I get like a knife and cut all this excess off, and then reapply some glue, and I'm going to reapply some glue on the inside of that. Looks like they put the glue right there. I'm just following the same pattern they do with the glue that's provided with these replacement parts. and then we're gonna let it dry before we put this back together. And while this is drying, I'm gonna get a vacuum and cleaning up all that on the inside and just visually inspecting the inside of that to make sure that still works. So to remove the old felt, I get just a knife from my box cutter, and I'm just going like this. Just going like that, and it takes it off pretty well. Don't worry about scratching this up. In fact, that might help with the glue stick better as you're scoring the metal. It's perfectly fine. So the new belt, if you look down here, the black's on the outside, so we're going to follow suit the same way. I'm going to put this on top all the way around before applying any glue whatsoever. So I need 2 hands for that. As always, yeah, they didn't give me the right size belt. I had to cut this in half or it wouldn't work. And also the glue isn't enough, so I'm probably going to use a hot glue. Hot glue works pretty well with felt to stick the rest of this all around, because there's not going to be enough glue. They never give me enough glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the old felt belt, I'm going to clip it off and put it to right here. I'm going to glue it on that way. It'll all work, but I'm going to get my hot glue, and I ended up using Gorilla Glue. What I did is I turned this over, so now the bottom is on top and the new felt is over there, and I'm just applying that Gorilla Glue. Get Gorilla Glue. This stuff is so good. Just liberally on there. Okay. There's my washer. I'm just gonna stick that on there, and it sticks really well. It's holding. So get this stuff. This is really good. Now that this is set, it looks like the inside. I don't need to actually put it on the inside, because over here nothing's glued down on the inside at all. So we got the drum. Has been sitting for about an hour to dry, quick dry. We're going to be putting this on, and there's other tutorials on YouTube, but pretty much these lines on the inside that go right on there, and this tensioner will go up against it like this, and it's going to wrap around the whole drum. So we're going to put the drum back on with the band, and then and there you go, I have the band back on, and if I spin it, the whole thing spins without making noise. Everything's back to normal. I'm going to put everything together, and I'm going to turn the... Okay, so I got the power hooked up, and the bearings have been lubricated. The band has been changed. The felt lining, which you can see right here, now is brand new, all glued together. Here we go. Test run. Silent. And job well done.